Hey, everybody, it's Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News. And I'm very pleased to have with us today Tony Liebel, who's the Principal Product Manager for Plume. Tony, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Doug.
So the big headline that we're crawling across our podcast today is Plume is introducing its software suite to introduce to the outdoors with a new access point. We're going to be talking about that and two related pieces of news. But first of all, Tony, what is Plume?
Sure. So Plume is a Wi-Fi software services company. We focus on delivering our services to the end home through our CSP channel. We work with about 400 plus internet service provider CSPs globally. And we have a number of product lines that fit all of the needs of the CSP, from something called Home Pass, which is what is delivered to the end resident, Work Pass, which is for small and medium-sized businesses, and then my part of the business that I run called Uprise, which is all things multi-resident and multi-family in the MDU world.
It goes
Go ahead.
without saying, like, I think one of the big changes that's happened over the last decade is, the home is also a workplace.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, and I know many of our CSP partners had a great 2020, 2021 as more people needed to be online and have better services to serve their work from home experience.
Well, Tony, let's dive into you mentioned that you work with a company called Edgecore.
Yes.
So, and you have an announcement there.
Yeah. So Plume, as I mentioned, is a software services company, but we have to deliver all of our services through award-winning, best-in-class hardware, right? So access points, routers, etc., for individual homes. We have about 30 manufacturers on our OpenSync platform, representing about 100 plus CPE. But the thing that we're announcing is we have our first outdoor access point available on OpenSync. It's a Wi-Fi 6 device. It's something that we heard from tons of customers that's needed to check that box when they're winning an MDU contract or a small business contract. We're really excited about it because it just extends our service offering to the outdoors beyond the walls of the home or business or building.
So what does this actually mean? In other words, if we're in a building or residential structure, something, is it seamless for the user as they're walking or moving from indoor to outdoor?
Yep, exactly. So it uses it extends our mesh protocol from OpenSync and from Plume. It's seamless. This device is power over Ethernet. Wall and pole mountable. I think is IP68 rated, so great for pretty much any environment.
And let's talk about that for just a second. What is the target for this device and for this program? What type of building? What does that look like?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's really any building with an outdoor space. We have property developers that deploy in marinas, and they had no real option from Plume other than putting one of our indoor access points in a hardened case on a pole somewhere. But what it really is small businesses that may have a patio that they're serving, a building that has a garden or a lounge area or a rooftop. Oftentimes our larger MDU environments have pools, which is a pretty cool amenity. That's really where we're seeing it.
So I'm thinking about businesses that have this sort of indoor-outdoor, like, for example, a car dealership has an office complex and a showroom, but then, of course, there's an extensive outdoor area.
Yeah, this is exactly it. You put it maybe on a nondescript pole somewhere in between the two buildings as you move between them, or on the outside of the building.
And as we're just discussing before we got on, there's an increasing expectation that this is just going to be there. That it's not a wow thing. It's you need to have this kind of thing.
Yeah. As the expectations of the consumer have greatly increased, especially after we just mentioned in the pandemic and the work from home adoption, especially in the MDU world. In the MDU world, people want to be online the day they move in. They don't want to wait for the truck roll. The CSP does not want to do a truck roll. Obviously, it's expensive, and having that extension to the outdoor, be it a private lounge, private terrace at a larger unit, or even just extension of the lobby. The residents really, they say they like it, but oftentimes they also say they need it.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
thinking of so many different applications, hotels, hospitals, university campuses, small colleges, and so on. There must be
Mhm.
hundreds of different places that would need this.
Yeah. We do serve a number of hotels that have been asking for it for a long time. I mentioned the marinas, the MDUs. Um, I'm excited to have one at my home, because I now live in the MDU hotbed in Florida, so I can work from. It's not work from home; it's work from backyard, right? So we were just talking about this. This is the Edgecore OAP 101, very competitively priced. What we really want the user to use it for is to extend the Plume services to more square footage of their property or of their business. Um, I mentioned IP68, Wi-Fi 6, wall and pole mountable, and it also has BLE, so it has Matter support if a building requires it.
Now, you also have an announcement regarding Plume Uprise.
Sure. I mean, so it's less of an announcement, more of a get to know the product. Uprise is our MDU multi-resident service suite from Plume. It is how we manage the individual homes as well as the businesses that might be in a mixed use environment. We're really focused on the 98% of buildings that are maybe unstaffed or rental buildings. Think less the large shiny buildings in city centers and maybe the beautiful older building in the shadow and right next door that's commanding and competing for very similar market rents. Uprise is a user interface for the property managers to move out residents. It's the way we manage all the interference in the building, and it's also how we get everybody connected.
So, Tony, what type of properties do you serve?
Yeah. So we serve Uprise serves all multi-resident environments, which when you first think about multi-resident, you think multi-family, which usually is that big shiny building in the center of the downtown. But what we found is that our solution set is very well suited for the unstaffed rental MDUs,
Hmm.
as well as big build to rent communities. The company started focusing on optimizing the single family home environment. We have an algorithm called Adapt that is very greedy. Make sure that your home, your Wi-Fi and the traffic that is on it is entirely prioritized compared to maybe anybody around you, maybe compared to your neighbors. Uprise has a very unique approach where we take kind of a socialist approach to the building, where we look at the traffic across the entire building and manage the interference in the property, as well as allocate bandwidth as needed to the different homes.
What's the customer reaction been?
Great question. So we serve three customer types, right? We serve the end resident in the unit. Then we serve the property owner, property developer, property manager, that section, and then of course our customer, the CSP. Let's talk about the building owner, because those are the ones usually making the end purchase decision in an MDU environment. They are adopting it very quickly. The core differentiator on our product is we insist that delivering individual SSIDs to each home is the best user experience. There's nothing quite like coming home and connecting to Doug's Wi-Fi or Tony's Wi-Fi as opposed to Great Oak's apartment Wi-Fi. So we do that as well as deliver Wi-Fi roaming networks across the common areas, IoT networks, broadcasts from all the APs in the building for the building IoT devices like smart locks, thermostats, etc. And the building owners have loved it because of the flexibility it provides, as well as the economics of delivering bulk and managed Wi-Fi to their residents.
And it almost is like a curating element to this. In other words, it makes the user experience more customized.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So we have pretty advanced features and the security levels, prioritization of specific application types, device management. We see some buildings even advertising their building as being cyber safe for the community because of the solution. And these are all facts that hold true for any Plume location, any Plume home, residence, apartment, single family home. But what Uprise does is that it scales it massively to the multifamily environment.
So, in other words, that some companies are starting, or some organizations are looking at this as almost an asset.
Yep, exactly. So we're seeing it on a couple different fronts. We see it as a marketing tool to the end resident. Move in because of the cyber safe property. We have high uptime. We have high uptimes. Is move in ready day one. Your Wi-Fi is ready to go as property wide, especially now that we have the outdoor access point. But we're also even seeing it on the property owner developer side, where they are able to go to their limited partners, their investors, and their funds, and say, "Hey, we have found this new value-added channel to boost a little bit, bring the bottom line up in the property," because they might be buying the Wi-Fi and broadband at a bulk rate from their local CSP and charging less than market rate directly to their resident, right? They're and splitting the difference.
So it's good for everybody. Good for the resident. Good for the owner. I guess good
Exactly.
also for the channel partner that's out there saying, "Hey, this is something you should have."
Yeah, it's definitely a privilege to get to work in something that's kind of a win for everybody.
So, Tony, it sounds like this is a very interesting opportunity for the channel partner community.
Yeah, that's really who we work with. We have 400 plus CSPs that we have strong partnerships with globally. Our value prop to them is that we through all of our services, our consumer experience management platform, which is what we discussed, as well as a product we call a haystack, which is finding a needle in a haystack. We simply make truck rolls and phone calls not happen. Agents are able to solve problems like, why is my network down? Why is my printer not connecting remotely through our platform? And all of the CPE that we discussed, 100 plus options from 30-ish manufacturers, gives the channel partner a lot of flexibility when they're out in the field and setting up a new home.
Well, Tony, I want to thank you for joining me today, giving us a big overview of Plume, brief overview of Plume, and a couple of the ideas you've got out there for the channel partners, some really excellent ideas for companies that are managing operating properties, and moving this forward for the residents and everyone else who enjoys and kind of expects great Wi-Fi all the time, indoor, outdoor. Where can we learn more?
Plume.com or reach out to somebody on LinkedIn. Like
all
me.
Right. Well, it's been great doing this initial podcast with you. I know that this is an unfolding story. I'm looking forward to doing more in the coming year, but for now, thanks very much.
Great. Good to meet you. Thank you so much, Doug.